The extent of the devastation after the January 12th earthquake in Haiti, really cannot be overstated. Driving around Port-au-Prince, you see school buildings that literally crumbled right on top of children while they were sitting at their desks. You have hospitals that fell to the ground, government ministries that toppled. It's almost impossible, I think, for any of us living here to really comprehend just the extent of the devastation and the loss of life that took place in a very short period of time. The earthquake was less than a minute long, and yet more than 200,000 people died, and it forced over 1 million people, close to 2 million people, from their homes, who are living in makeshift camps in and around the capital city. It used to be parquets, any stretch of grass where people have set up homes and are just trying to get by and survive on a daily basis. Well, certainly some people might wonder why War Child is in Haiti. The truth is that we actually have had Haiti on our list of target countries for a few years. It's a country that has a history of political instability and violence, as well as criminality, arms-related criminality, and a lot of young men who are involved in that criminality. So for us, it was issues of security, it was issues of gender-based violence, it was issues of young people, young disaffected people who need the resources and the opportunities to be able to build meaningful and productive lives. And these are the kinds of areas that War Child is expert at. These are the things that we focus on, and we felt that it was an important contribution that we could make prior to this earthquake, and that was why we have been looking at Haiti for some time. In the wake of the earthquake, obviously, the needs have changed, and our purpose in conducting our recent assessment was to look at how we could move forward with our programming now that this earthquake has happened, and what our priorities should be in the months and years ahead. War Child Canada always works with local partners and local community organizations on the ground. It's very important to us. It's part of how we promote sustainability. It's part of how we undo the legacy of poverty and violence in many countries around the world. So for us, the way that we choose our local partners and our local community groups is really through rigorous assessment. We meet with organizations on the ground, we meet with community leaders and government officials, and we really identify where the gaps are, where we might bring added value, and where we can help build that local capacity so that they can be involved in the work that needs to get done. One of the great challenges in the wake of the January earthquake in Haiti has been developing a coordinated and consolidated approach. There are many organizations in the ground, all with different levels of experience in working with post-disaster communities in an emergency context, and part of that becomes a question of how do you best coordinate the works that everybody is doing in order to maximally have an impact. And that's been a real challenge, and that's obviously been one of the roles that the United Nations has taken on, trying to organize people into clusters and have the organizations that are present on the ground work with one another to make sure that we are all developing a consolidated strategy, and that's really important. In terms of choosing an organization, it's really important. The disaster in Haiti, I think, has I hope, opened people's eyes to the fact that this isn't something. Haiti has been a problem for many years. They've had many challenges around poverty, around violence, around instability, and in the months and years ahead, this is going to be a long-term investment, and it's wonderful that people felt so moved that they wanted to give and they wanted to do something positive to help the people of Haiti. But it's really important that we maintain that momentum moving forward, because these are challenges that are going to take many years actually to be able to address. Issues of poverty, issues of education, issues of skills training, creating economic opportunity for families and for young people. These are the kinds of initiatives that are going to benefit Haitians over the long term. And most critically important in all of this is that Haitians themselves are given those skills and given those opportunities to be in charge of these programs, to receive that kind of training, and to be involved at all levels. And that's something that we're going to have to, I think, as an international community, really watch for, because the urge to help can be great, but it doesn't really maximally benefit anyone if the rush is to go in and to do the work ourselves when there is a real opportunity here to invest in Haiti and Haitians themselves. The issue of schooling in this context is critically important because school provides children with a safe place to go, an opportunity to learn, and an opportunity to continue thinking and moving towards the future. There are many examples in which children, the most important psychological intervention you can have with a child who's experienced loss and devastation and trauma like this is to really establish a sense of normalcy for that child, and education is a critical piece in that. So one of the biggest priorities and one of the areas that War Child is contributing to is in helping children to catch up with some of the education that they have missed, and to working with communities to provide those types of initiatives for children while we're in this phase of reconstruction and rehabilitation. Our programming approach in Haiti is actually twofold. For one, we're going to be focusing on safe and protective spaces. So within the camps for the internally displaced and within communities where women and children in particular can go, where they can be free from harm, free from sexual exploitation, and can actually participate in educational programs and other recreational activities. So that's our short-term focus and priority. And this is critically important. There has been a dramatic increase in sexual and gender-based violence, particularly within the camps that have been set up for people displaced as a result of this crisis. And the security in these camps is really lacking, and women and young girls in particular are very vulnerable. So having these types of safe spaces and creating these opportunities for young people and for young girls especially is a huge priority for us. The second part of what we're working on has to do with education again, and we will be focusing on education and skills training for children and young people in the months to years ahead to allow them to catch up on some of the learning that they may have lost, but also for young people who are desperately looking for opportunities to get themselves out of poverty and to create new lives. These are the kinds of critical interventions that War Child has been successful at in other parts of the world. We know it works, we know it reduces violence, we know it promotes peace and stability, and we know that it is a long-term strategy that will ultimately, I think, create the kinds of conditions that will allow Haitians to thrive. The issue of reforestation in Haiti is critically important moving forward. Less than 2% of Haiti's original forest cover still remains. That obviously creates conditions that make them vulnerable to natural disasters, to mudslides, creates vulnerabilities in terms of hurricanes. In Port-au-Prince, which is a city that is really literally built on hills, you see homes that are perched on the side of a cliff. And if you don't have the strength and the reinforcement of that kind of ground cover, those homes are extremely vulnerable, and the people living inside of them and underneath them are also extremely vulnerable. It needs to be part of a coordinated strategy to rebuild Haiti and to protect its natural resources, and its forests are obviously a critical part of those resources, and they are something that deserve the investment of the international community. In terms of volunteering your time and resources, one of the big challenges in Haiti right now is that there are many organizations on the ground with different levels of experience in responding to these types of crises. The real emphasis needs to be on creating the conditions which will allow Haitian communities and Haitians themselves the opportunity to be involved in the work, to drive that process, and to be meaningfully consulted and be participating throughout at all stages. So that needs to be the priority. For people who are really interested in donating their time or donating their resources, one of the best things they could do would be to contact organizations here in Canada to volunteer their time within their offices here in Canada to see how they might be helpful. Because unless you have a particular skill or a particular set of experiences that you can bring that can help build the capacity of the people of Haiti themselves, it's important to take a long, hard look at whether or not what you're contributing to that effort is useful or is needed or is really benefiting the people who need it most, which are the people on the ground. So that's a really important thing to consider. In terms of donations, obviously anybody who wants to donate to our program, it's very simple. You can go onto warchild.ca and donate very specifically to our Haiti program, and we welcome any level of contribution.